The crown lies broken on the ground tonight. A ghostly whisper fills the cold moonlight. Once proud halls now echo with despair. The throne sits empty, no king sits there. Mountains crumble where heroes once stood. The rivers run with tears, not with blood. Shattered dreams in the ruins we tread. A kingdom forgotten, its glory fled. Oh, the shattered kingdom falls apart. Lies a broken heart in the dark.
Let me fix my camera, you guys. What's up, you guys? I'm coming to you all from the House of the Shattered Kingdom. This is your gracious host, King Havoc Warlord. You can see tonight I got my Halloween shirt on. Got John Carpenter joint. So we're gonna be. This is the second annual stream for Friday the 13th. This is the Shattered Friday. Today we're going to be continuing off of me recognizing the serial killers, like the movie serial killers and stuff like that. So bear with me. I'm going to have to bring up movie serial killers. All right, let's come down to the horror fandom. All right, so let's see. Let me go to share screen. So I'm going to go ahead and do it like this. We stopped on Freddy Krueger last time, so let me go down here to the Fs. Actually, let's go back. Let me pull up my phone real quick so I can take it, go into YouTube and see if I can hear the stuff or whatever. Let's go to view channel. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Can you guys hear me out there? Testing, 1, 2, 3. Can you guys hear me out there? All right. And so let's go ahead and put the phone down. I'm going to be going over some other ones too. So we stopped at F, which was the last one that we did was Freddy Krueger original timeline. So I'm going to do Freddy Krueger, the remake timeline. I'm gonna pull up the YouTube so that way I can pay attention to you guys' to the chat. Excuse me. Let's go here. Excuse me. So. I know a lot of people end up looking over. They look at the old Freddy Krueger, the OG. They look at him, but I feel like the remake timeline goes right along with it too. Some people like the remake, some people don't. Well, we're gonna go over that tonight. When I get done, it should be like 12 o'clock or whatever. Freddy Krueger says, "You can't wake up. I had to keep you awake long enough so that when you finally slept, you'll never wake up again. We're gonna be in here a long time. Did you really think your boyfriend could wake you up? I'm your boyfriend now, bitch." That's what he said to Nancy. He didn't say bitch, but he normally says, "I'm your boyfriend now, bitch." Oh, or he says it like this. Let me talk in the voice of Freddy Krueger. Let me see if I got this. "You can't wake up. I had to keep you awake long enough so that when you finally slept, you'll never wake up again. We're gonna be in here a long, long time. Did you really think your boyfriend could wake you up? I'm your boyfriend now, bitch." That's my Freddy Krueger impersonation. So the contents, what we're going to do is we're going to do the victims, his power and ability, and his life story. So let me click to the life story. Actually, we need to do biography first. So life story, Freddy Krueger was a gardener and a local janitor in a school in Springwood. During his time as a gardener, he had a craving for little children and started to lure them to a hidden room where he abused them. After some time, he also started to scar his children, Nancy. So this is their version of Nancy. Nancy Holbrook. Nancy should be his favorite. When the parents found out we had done to them, they were furious and decided it was time for revenge. As Freddy had fled, they hunted him down and chased him to an old factory. As he fled inside, one of the parents, Ellen Smith, grabbed a jerry can with gasoline, which is a gas can. If you guys don't know what a jerry can is, ignited it and threw it in the factory, where Freddy was burned alive as the parents watched his demise. A Nightmare on Elm Street. Years after these events, Freddy was forgotten by his victims, but he hadn't forgotten them. Seeking revenge on them, on the parents who killed him, and on the children who gave away his dark secrets. He started to hunt them down one by one in the one place where no one could protect them. in their dreams. His first victim in the movies is Dean. During the movie, it's revealed he already killed Marcus Yin, Lisa Harper, Brent Tanzer, uh, Sukari McGill, Carrie Bush, Nancy Lamb, Elizabeth Cook, Craig Jackson. Prior to Dean's death, Freddy followed him through the dinner, and where he popped out from the corner and sliced Dean's hand, where Dean fell asleep again, where he returned to finish the job. As Dean tried to stab Freddy with a knife, Freddy manipulated the dream so that the knife slit at Dean's throat. His victims. The next victim is Chris, Dean's girlfriend, who fell asleep in class. She woke up before he can kill her. After Chris fell asleep again, she saw Freddy in the classroom, suggests that they play hide and seek. As Chris runs, found him, she believes that she's waking up, but then Freddy appeared and ended her life, framing her ex-boyfriend Jesse for the murder. He then went after Jesse, who fell asleep while in jail. Freddy taunted Jesse a bit more before shoving his arm through Jesse's chest, killing him. Quarantine Smith was the next to be targeted, Freddy. But the difference in tensions at the moment he fell asleep, he doesn't become a victim of Freddy. Instead, he has to witness the murder on Freddy. After witnessing this, Quarantine goes after Nancy, which I showed you guys Nancy in the beginning. But Nancy is the protagonist. She's basically the main character in this. And keep this in mind, this is a remake, so this is different from the Freddy that you guys are used to or whatever. The reason his face looked like that, they tried to make it more realistic and this and that. But Freddy had the same idea and attacked her in a convenience store when she experienced micronaps. So micronaps, if you guys don't know what that is, micronaps is small naps, and you gain a little bit of energy here and there. He was able to cut her, but she managed to pull a piece of his sweater out with her providing his weakness. They revisited their old preschool. Nancy fell asleep so she could find Freddy and bring him out of the dream world so they could kill him. After a short fight with Freddy, Quarantine injected adrenaline into Nancy, and she woke up, bringing Freddy out with her. Freddy went for Nancy's first, stabbing Freddy in the leg and detaching it. Cutting off his hand. The result of Nancy's slice, cutting off his hand and slitting his throat with the broken paper cutter blade. Nancy and Quentin burned down the school, and his corpse. Firemen and the ambulance arrived, and the firemen put out the fire. With the ambulance takes Nancy Quentin away, but Freddy reappeared a last time behind Nancy's mom in a mirror and stabbed her through the head and pulled her into the mirror as Nancy screamed in horror. So here's the victims: Dean Russell, Lisa Harper, Brett Tanzer, Nancy Lamb, Craig Jackson, Elizabeth Cook, Carrie Bush, Zukari McGill, Chris Flowers, Jesse Braun, excuse me, Mark Jean, Gwen Helbrook is his victims. Now, his powers and abilities, you guys. Since his death was by the hands of Springwood parents, Freddy has the ability to invade and manipulate the dreams of his victims. In the dream, he is able to control and change every aspect of the world. As when the victims tries to harm with a weapon in the dreams, he's able to turn it in against them. He's known for toying with his victims, letting them think they're free, giving them the illusion they escape before stalking them again in the dreams world. He has supernatural strength, as he is able to lift Jesse from the ground with one hand, as his claws are burned in Jesse's adamant. Even in the real world, he has certain resistance against pain and is able to survive other lethal wounds. So, if like example, like in Freddy versus Jason, how Jason had basically cut off his arms and he thought his arms were off. When Jason cut him off with a machete, he said, "Boom," and they grew back. That's what he could do in the dream world. Trivia. In a rough possible that he is based on stunts or sudden unexpected death of syndrome discussed. Also involves a nightmare that would kill the victim. Even more coincident is both use fear. Freddy uses the power of stunts, where uses it to kill. The only difference between the two is Freddy is actually murders his victims, while Suds simply scares them to death. The original Freddy is this one right here, which we went over before in last stream. Are two Freddy. There are two different characters, and adds into Dead by Daylight, the video game. If you guys like the multiplayer stuff online, go download Dead by Daylight. You can purchase him as a character. There's like different stuff on there, so that's fun. Freddy was a lot darker and more edgier than Robert Englund's counterpart. And that, my friend, that is Freddy Krueger, the remake Freddy Krueger. All right, so Ron G. So we're gonna do let me see if I know this person. We're gonna do Grayson Burke. And so Grayson Burke, they ain't got much on Grayson Burke, so I was gonna do him, but let's go to H. Let's go to 1986. And they ain't got nothing on him. Let's see if they got something on Herbert West. Herbert West. Aliases is Mr. West, Dr. West. Occupation is mad scientist, and his status he's alive. In the Reanimation series, which is this, the Reanimator. So Herbert West, He's a main character in 1985 Stuart Gordon's film The Reanimator. It's an original source. Herbert West is the Reanimator when by H.P. Lovecraft in 1922. Herbert West is a typical mad scientist archetype and is obsessed with experiments bringing the dead back to life and defeating death with his newfound solution called the reagent, which is a formula used to reanimate the corpses, which injects into the host found in all adaptations of Reanimator. His biography, well, much is not to know about West's life. He did enroll himself into the University of Zurich in Switzerland, where he was a young adult and did independent research for 5 years, which is possible when he invented the reagent used to bring dead corpses back to life. He later got kicked out. After the alleged. Hold up, you guys. He later got kicked out. He used it on the corpse, one of the experiments, and eventually moved to the Miskotronic University Medical School and has led him to events of reanimation. During his years at that university, he met Dan Kane, another medical student, and offered to pay rent for the shelter inside of Kane's home. West would later cause trouble inside Dan's residence, such as being responsible for murder of Dan's cat. So this guy, he killed Dan's cat, Rufus, and also started acting very strange, selective, being very strict about his policy, which raised the suspicion of Dan's girlfriend, Megan Halsey, who is also the daughter of Dean. One night while West was working in the basement out of the house, Dan comes down to investigate the strange noises, and he is shocked to see his dead cat, Rufus, jumping around, attempting to attack the both of them. Then Rufus and West explains to him about the reagent and shows him what it's capable of. By injecting the formula into the dead cat, it springs back to life. West eventually manipulates Dan into helping him with the experiment, since he had access to many parts of the medical school, such as the morgue. And the next day, the two men sneak into the morgue, and West uses the reagent on a fresh corpse. As it jumps up, it begins to attack Dan until the dean of the school walks in, but later killed by the crazy zombie. West then kills the reanimated corpse and uses Dean's corpse as the next subject and leads them to being caught by Dan's girlfriend, Megan, and the police. Take the zombie, Dean, and thinking that he has gone insane. Later that night, one of the professors at the school, Dr. Carl Hill, who West, is anybody in the chat? displeased. This Peters finds out that West experiments and plans to steal it and take it as his own until he is beheaded by an angered West, which his headless corpse and disembodiment had reanimated and escapes the house as the medical school in order to kidnap Meg Halsey. Dan finds out and gets West to come to help him. And in the morgue, they find that Dr. Hill was stripped and as I'm not going to say that word, Megan, but she is saved by Wes and runs off with Dan just in time to escape the reanimated corpse that Dr. Hill commanded. Meg is attacked by the zombies and later dies due to suffocation, and Wes is left to confront Dr. Hill, who has overloads with reagent and gets attacked by Hill's reanimated intellect. I don't know what this word is. While Dan is attempting to revive Megan in the hospital room, he is told that she is dead and has left a heartbroken. West, who survived the attack, comes in to confront his friend. Dan has his wife is dead. This is a Herbert West. Let's go on to the next one. I wasn't just trying to give you guys just the regular ones. I was trying to give you guys something. Let's see, Ira Sims, maybe. Ira Sims is an owner of the shop in SNDN, Silent Night, Deadly Night. He was killed by Billy Chapman, where he whacked him in the head with a hammer just off screen as the blood splatters on some boxes. Here's the boxes that it splattered on. This is him getting whacked in the head. Shop presumed closed down. After Ira's death, his body was removed from the shop and his family were informed of his death the next day. That one right there was short and sweet. Now we're going to do the It character. Biographical information. Alias is Pennywise the Dancing Clown. Robert Bob Gray the Deadly Spider. His relatives is Gan the father and Marturna the brother. Aliases Henry Bowers, Tom Rogers, genderless, most referenced as a male. His occupation is cosmetic entity of consumption. His age is, I don't know. His status is deceased. There was a novel in 1990, and then there was Ministry's 2016 films, and his cause of death is a crushed heart. And so Stephen King's It. This is a Stephen King story right here. And this is Stephen King right here. This is the creator of the basically of Pennywise. And then 2017 there was another It movie that came out, which was that. And then there was another one that followed, and there was a series, Welcome to Derry, portrayed by Tim Curry. And then films is so this is Tim Curry, The Legend. And then in the films, this is the other it right here. Bill Gunther Skarsgård. I don't know how to say his name, but that's who plays him. So his quotes, other uses for it says, "You will float too." It is a character from the book It, written by author Stephen King. The book was adapted to miniseries in 1990 and two films, 2017 and 2019 miniseries. He was also portrayed as Tim Curry in the films Bill's Skarsgård. So, in apparently original in the void containing surrounding taking place reference to in the novels as microverse, a concept similar that later established in the darkness of the Dark Tower series. That's a different subject for a different time. The real name is unknown. It is possible it has no name. If it then is possibly of the supernatural language the human mind will understand. However, it claims to be the name of Bob Gray or Pennywise, though it could just be just toying with the Losers Club and is cherished it by the group of children who later confront it. Likewise, its true form is never truly comprehended. The favorite form is a clown with fangs, a large claws, and when it stalks children, known as Pennywise, the dancing clown. And its final form, it is the physical realms in that an enormous spider. But even if there is only the closest to human mind we can get, approximately, its actually physical form, its naturally form exists in a realm beyond the physical, which it calls the deadlights. Bill comes dangerously close to seeing deadlights, but successfully defeats it before this happens, such as deadlights are never seen in its true real form from outside of the physical realm. It never revealed, only described as an endless, scary creature made written destruction. Orange lights coming face to face with coming face to face with that light drives any living being insane, instantly insane. A common device. The only known person to face the deadlights and uh, and survive is Audra Phillips, Bill's wife. It takes form of a spider. Takes form of a spider. In the second ritual of Chud, it is not the true form of it, but it is the form which closely represents its true form. In the human mind, it also is a physical true form of it. The physical form of it has the characteristics of a female giver. It can lay eggs. It can take many genders depending on the form it takes. Its Pennywise form is that. Hold it real quick, you guys. depending on the form how it takes. Pennywise is a form that of the human man, that it's true from overall it's genderless, given why the losers call it. Its natural enemy is another ancient microverse dweller who eans upon also themselves in the universe, possibly others. The turtle shows up again in King's series, The Dark Tower. The book suggests that it is among with the turtle are themselves creations of the separate omni protect reference as others who could possibly gain the shell and choked it up on a galaxy or two. It arrives in the world in a massive cataclysmic event similar to an impact that takes place that would in time become Derry, Maine. Its power is apparently quite vast. During the second ritual of Chud, it offers the losers money, power, and supernatural longevity. Or, as it put in a novel, I can make you the losers, gods of the earth. If they spare it, of course, it merely has been bluffing in order to save itself. Throughout the novel, such events are described, though its point of view, which it describes itself as the superior being, which the turtle as the someone close to superiority, as the humans as mere toys. So it sees us as mere toys. It describes that it prefers to kill and devour children, not by nature, rather than because the fears of the children are easier to predict. In the physical form, thus children are easier to fill with terror, which it says is akin to salting the meat. It is continuously surprising by the children's victories as near the end. It becomes to wonder if it perhaps isn't as superior as it had once throughout. However, it never believes that the individual children are strong enough to defeat it, only though the other working through them as a group. So a cycle for millions of years, it dwells under Derry. Derry's the town, just so you guys know. The arrival of humans, which is somehow new of the occur once the people settled over the dwelling in the place, it adopts a cycle of hibernation for a long period that waken approximately every 27 years. Its waken spells marked by extraordinary violence, which is unpredictably overlooked or outright forgotten by those who witness its awakening and return to hibernation, marking the greatest instance of violence during the time awake. Sorry, guys. So it woke up 1750 and 1716, 1740 through 1773. It awoke and started three reign terrors in defense of over 300 settlers. Derry's township, like the ministry. I'm not going to read this stuff. you guys can pause this and read it or whatever, and but I'm gonna do this because it's gonna be a lot to read. So, so I'm doing this so that you guys can pause it and read it if you need to. Here's the Losers Club, the information on the Losers Club. That was Pennywise. That was it. So let's come down to Jack Torrance. So Jack Torrance is another book done by Stephen King. He's another character in The Shining. So this is The Shining, you guys. Pretty gnarly book. So Jack Torrance is the main antagonist and played by Jack Nicholson. His biography is Johnny. His relatives, his wife is Wendy Torrance. This is Wendy Torrance here, played by. She's played by. Let's see who she's played by. If I'm not mistaken, she's played by Shelley Duvall. Yeah, she's played by actor Shelley Duvall. Jack Torrance, let's see. His son is Danny Torrance. He was in The Shining and Doctor Sleep. Doctor Sleep is another book too. It's when Jack Torrance grew up or whatever. So he has other characters I didn't recognize. So he has Lucy Stone, his daughter. They never talk about her, and there's Sandy Reynolds, his ex-wife. This must be the daughter of his ex-wife. Elbra Stone, granddaughter, Jackie Torrance's niece, Mike Torrance's brother, Brett Torrance's brother, Becky Torrance's sister, Mark Torrance's father, and Mrs. Torrance, which is his mother. So the biography, Jack is portrayed in a more grimly in the 1980s film. In the novel, Jack is tragic hero. Shortcomings lead to his defeat, while the film implies that he is insane, and it omits to the trauma in his childhood. The first film is a major devotion from the source material when Jack attacks Halloran, which Halloran is the guy that was the caretaker before. He has like powers and stuff, just like the son, Danny Torrance. That's why they have it's called The Shining, because they can like see dead people and stuff like that. And the mullet, Jack brutally kills Halloran with an axe, wound to the heart. In the film, Jack hears Danny scream and chases his son through the hedge maze outside the Overlook Hotel. In the novel, topiary animals come to life and threaten Danny. Danny erases his footprints to his father won't be able to follow him, while Wendy Torrance, his mom, Danny escapes to the hotel. Halloran's snowcat. Jack gets lost in the maze and rests from chasing Danny and freezes to death. While Jack redeems himself in the book in the 1980 film of succumbs to his demon and untimely damned till the film ends, featuring the old black and white photograph saying, "This show overlooked Hotel July, 4th Ball 1921." A young Jack Torrance stands smiling in the bottom center. So this right here is Jack Torrance when he froze to death. Let's see if they got any more stuff on Jack Torrance. So I mean, I could go over these photos. You know what? I will go over these photos. So keep it in mind, people. All these are like the ghosts. All these are like all these people are dead already in the Overlook Hotel. This is when Jack started going angry. He got hit and dragged into the freezer. That's him crazy in there. That's his infamous scene right there with X. Here's Johnny. That's him being crazy. Right here. Here's Johnny. He's coming through looking for Wendy. He said he's gonna knock her brains out or whatever. That's him dying. See, this is the photo right here, you guys. I don't know if you can see it, but this is Jack Torrance in the bottom. Yeah, see right here, he was a caretaker all along. See, this was the remake right here. So I mean, yeah, it's a good look. If you guys want to watch something good, go watch the original Shining. It's one of the classics. I mean, now this next subject we're gonna do about Jason Voorhees, and we're gonna do the Jason Voorhees reboot timeline. So let's see how much stuff there is. Yeah, see, there's a lot of stuff for Jason Voorhees. So I'm gonna pick. So main character Jason Voorhees. He's a main antagonist of Friday the 13th. Which this is Friday the 13th right here. These are how many Friday the 13th that there is. I should do a stream, you guys, and just do all the Friday the 13th. This couldn't be a Friday the 13th stream if I didn't go over Jason Voorhees. He's a slasher in Friday the 13th slasher series. It's remakes as murderer for revenge of either as figment of his imagination in the flesh. Jason is in every novel, comic, and film. Jason stalks and kills at Camp Crystal Lake. Vernon needs advantage the death of his beloved mother, Pamela Voorhees. This is Pamela Voorhees right here. She dies in the first Friday the 13th, she dies by getting decapitated. Jason witnesses it, and then he goes on to vow whoever comes to Camp Crystal Lake that he's going to kill whoever. So his father not a lot of people know. His father is Elias Voorhees, more commonly referred as Mr. Voorhees, the ex-husband of Pamela Voorhees. Is an infamous father of the notorious undead serial killer and assassin Jason Voorhees, as well as Diana Kimball. Satanist, Strotic, physically intimidated man. Mr. Voorhees is described as having a reddish gray hair and appear as largely mute, with being some implications that Jason's supernatural traits were inherited from him. This is a little backstory to the character, but from what we do know about Elias Voorhees, he was a very intelligent man. He spent a reminder of his life as a coal miner. He was an abusive alcoholic who hated Jason so much for his disabilities that he said that at some point Mr. Voorhees pays visit to his son's grave in Eternal Peace Cemetery, where Jason's buried, to catch it simply looking at the brutal plot point of earlier resurrecting as a zombie-like entity. Elias also, hold it real quick, you guys. Elias was to appear in some Friday the 13th movies, such as Jason Lives. Kane Hodder was set to play Elias in 2 films, Jason Goes to Hell, The Final Friday, which is this, and Freddy vs. Jason. These never materialized. However, he does appear in novelized as Jason Lives at some other comic stores to expand his universe. So this is the biography of Jason Voorhees' father. Jason stalks Crystal Lake, feeding his burning need to avenge the death of his beloved mother, Pamela, and the abuse they received largely due to Jason's disformity. He was also one copycat killer, Roy Burns. His half-sister is Diana Kimball. Jessica Kimball is his half-sister, and half-great-niece is Stephanie Kimball. His childhood. We're going to do childhood, place of birth, resurrection. His powers, ability. Childhood. Jason Voorhees was born June 13, 1947, to Pamela and Elias Voorhees in a small town of Crystal Lake. Suffered from a severe physical deformities and possibly mental disabilities, and experienced a shattered childhood. He did not attend school and only contacted was with his mother. However, during the summer of 1957, Jason attended Camp Crystal Lake, This is Camp Crystal Lake right here. Camp Crystal Lake is a summer camp located somewhere in a small town of Crystal Lake, New Jersey. In the Friday the 13th series is also set on Crystal Lake, a large lake forest of northern New Jersey. There are a couple of other camps adjacent to the property. Where his Back to the story. In 1957, Jason attended Camp Crystal Lake, where his mother worked as a cook. Unfortunately, his disturbing appearance earned ridicule and persecution from the other children, who on one occasion teased him by trying to cover his face and call him a freak show. In an effort to escape their taunts, a terrifying Jason ran down the pier and fell into Crystal Lake. Unable to swim, he began to struggle and disappeared under the water, which is this right here. So these kids were teasing him. And he tried to escape. Well, it looks like he got thrown in. Jason was then saved and kept secret by Deuce Hill. For this season, his body was never found. His mother blamed the camp counselors, Barry, Claudette, and the other counselors who were supposed to have been looking after Jason, but had been too busy having sex and taking and preventing the accident. A year later, in the summer of 1957, Mrs. Voorhees snuck into the Camp Crystal Lake later that night and murdered Barry and Claudette and the two teenagers that were supposedly to have been watching the children after a double homicide. The camp was closed, double murdered, and led to some people calling the Camp Blood. The camp was deserted up until 1979. A man named Steve Christie tried to reopen the camp. And the parents once owned. Mr. Voorhees stalked the camp, killing off Christie and 6 of the hired counselors. The only survivors of the massacre was a girl named Alice Hardy, which I'm going to show you who Alice Hardy was. So this is Alice Hardy right here. She fought off Mrs. Voorhees and decapitated her with a machete. Jason and the witnesses this. It made him go on a murder spree to avenge his mother's death and keep her wish going to keep the area closed. After Alice killed Mrs. Voorhees, she got the chance. She got in the canoe and passed out. When Alice was recovered by the police, she claimed that the boy had dragged her under the water. The confused police told her that upon searching the campground, they hadn't found any boy. Birth of the killer. It's getting a little bit later, so if you guys want, you can pause this and check it out. It's a lot to go through. Like I said, this will be the time when we go over all this. In the future, I'm gonna do a just Jason Voorhees stream, and then we're gonna be reading over all the movies. I'm gonna be figuring out what's what. But I don't want to take that from you guys. I could do the desk though. So the list of Jason Voorhees victims he kills was supposedly killed in the movies. Before the main events series, Jason had drowned in Captain Crystal Lake. And Friday the 13th, Part 3, Jason was stuck in the head by an axe by Chris Higgins. This is his defeats and deaths. Friday the 13th, the final chapter, Jason was impaled through the skull by his own machete and hacked by Tommy Jarvis. The fourth installment to the movie, Friday the 13th, Part 4, Jason Lives. Jason was chained to the bottom of Camp Crystal Lake, and Megan Garris ground his throat, ground around the throat with the boat, propelled the blade, and breaking his neck. The fifth installment of the movie, Friday the 13th, Friday the 13th, The New Blood. Jason was dragged to the bottom of Camp Crystal Lake, chained there again by the soul of Tina's father. So Tina, just so you guys know, she's got a whole bunch of power to her. She has psychic energy, and she could do a whole bunch of really cool stuff. And she was the antagonist to be like the yin to the yang against Jason Voorhees. I'm not going to say too much more because she basically, I don't want to take that from you guys. They're again in the soul of Tina's father after summoning him. The sixth installment, Jason Takes Manhattan. Jason is covered in toxic waste, burying his face and swept away in a waste of transports him back to Crystal Lake. Now, I've watched this movie, and I've never seen him go back to Crystal Lake. I've just seen him get covered in the waste, and that was it. It showed him as a little boy. They got out, and then it ends. Jason Goes to Hell, the final Friday. Jason was stabbed in the heart by Jessica Campbell and dragged to hell. That's when we get Jason versus Freddy after Jason X. Now, Jason X, Jason turned into Uber Jason and knocked down towards the earth where he was burned in atmosphere by Rennie. Now, the Friday the 13th, Freddy versus Jason takes a various beating from Freddy Krueger, where he is blasted by propane, causing an explosion along with Freddy, although this doesn't kill him. And that is Friday the 13th. That's basically it in a nutshell. So we will do the reboot because this is about Jason Voorhees. So, like I said, there's not much to the reboot. Jason Voorhees in the reboot is a main antagonist of Friday the 13th reimagining from the original 1980s film, where he is portrayed as Caleb Gus as a child, and as an adult he's portrayed as Derek Myers. Biography: Young Jason witnesses his mother beheaded as a child, like I've said before in the original, and he follows in her footsteps, killing anyone who comes to Camp Crystal Lake. As an adult, Jason kidnaps Whitney Miller, a girl who looks like his mother, and holds her prisoner in tunnels. So just so you guys know, Jason Voorhees, what they did with the reboot, they never quite showed Jason Voorhees getting around Camp Crystal Lake. So they couldn't explain how fast he was getting around because he always caught people. So in this one, if I like the reboot of the Freddy and this, but basically what happened was within the reboot, he has tunnels and stuff underneath the ground, like bells and stuff, so he knows where people step or whatever, and basically that's how he gets around. without spoiling anything. He holds her prisoner in the tunnels. A month later, Whitney's brother, Clay, comes to Camp Crystal Lake and rescues her. Eventually, Whitney uses Jason's devotion to his mother against him, stabbing him with his own machete while he is distracted, where she appears when his body is dumped into a lake. Jason emerges from the water to grab Whitney, and their fates are left unknown. Let's see. Let's see, who do I want to do next? I don't want to do Jigsaw. We've already done Jigsaw in the other one. Let's go to K. I gotta see something real quick, you guys. I gotta see something real plot point of. I gotta see something real. I don't want to do the Killer Santa. It's just, I'm just trying to find something out. So we got Leatherface Netflix, and we got Leatherface Original. So let's do Netflix first. So Leatherface the one on Netflix. Leatherface, a fictional character and the main antagonist in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre horror films. So this is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre horror films. Series where he is portrayed as a mentally handicapped man who wears a mask made out of human skin, which this is inspired. This and Psycho and some other ones is inspired by Ed Gein, which is a real serial killer, which leads to his eventually named Leatherface. The character is loosely based on a real-life serial killer, Ed Gein, who is remembered as one of the most brutal serial killers in American history, whom also happened to skin his victims and wear clothes made out of their skin. Leatherface is usually decapitated with his iconic chainsaw. Depicted with his iconic chainsaw. But is also known as using large sledgehammers to attack his victims. Yeah, this ain't that much. The history. On August 18th, 1973, 5 college students, Sally Franklin, Jerry, Pam, and Kurt went on a road trip to go to their homestead and reports a great robbery. Kurt, Pam, and the local swimming rule and stumbling upon the cannibal house, hoping that they can get some gasoline for their van, where Leatherface killed Kurt with a sledgehammer and hung Pam on a meat hook before throwing her into a freezer where she froze to death. Where Jerry came looking for them, he was killed by Leatherface with a sledgehammer, where he was killed Franklin in the woods, and his chainsaw. Sally were took to the house and to cook her and eat her. When Grandpa failed to kill Sally with a sledgehammer, she ran, but the hitchhiker, Leatherface, chased her after her nubbins, and faster than Leatherface caught up to Sally. Before he could kill her, she was run over by an 18-wheeler and had been too focused Sally to notice. With the the hitchhiker only, Leatherface was left managing to catch up to Sally. Sally went to the truck where it was driven to attack with his chainsaw. The two got out and ran as Leatherface chased them. Seeing them, they were losing him. The driver, with the wrench, knocking him out and chasing him, cut his leg off with the chainsaw. Sally emerged, taking advantage of this distraction, escaped and passing the pickup truck while the driver ran in fear. He last seen swinging his chainsaw around, frustrated and due to his victim escaping. His wounds and his brother were dead. I would like to see you guys. I know they do Chainsaw Massacre and all that. They do so many of these movies. I would really like to see a movie based on the people that had got away and they actually turn out to be serial killers. Would be cool. Soon after, Leatherface ran from the home and threw away his skin mask, arriving in a small town of Harlem. He went to an orphanage and was met Virginia Janie McGruber, who took him under her wing for 50 years. Leatherface would live in a quiet and peaceful life. 50 years after original massacre in 1973, a group of entrepreneurs, Melanie, Leah, Dante, and Ruth, have traveled to a quiet home. However, after they had brought most of their property from blanks that owned them, hoping to create their own life, community, and seeing the buildings in an auction. After noticing one of the buildings waving counterfeit Confederate flag, and a group discovered Jenny, who rightfully informed her that she has since apparently no longer owns the building. And the two police officers arrived to escort her out. Jenny suffers a heart attack. Ruth and Leatherface join the officers in their van as to drive to the nearest hospital, but also Jenny dies. They've arranged Leatherface, and he kills one of the officers. After forcing the van in the crash, Leatherface kills the remaining officers. Ruth then makes his first new mask in a half of a century. Jenny's face, Leatherface, then makes his way back to Harlem to enact his revenge on those who he believes murders his last blood relatives. Meanwhile, Melanie finally receives the text message from already dead Ruth that the old lady has died, feeding remorse from their actors. Melanie plans leaving Harlem with her sister, Richter, and the other person who was living in Harlem. Here's that. However, it takes their key to the bus and refuses to give it back until they prove they had the right to kick Jenny out of the home. Sally Hartley is only living survivor. Told a friend that she hears that heard over the radio about a man forced a van to crash and made a mask from someone's face. Realizing it's the same man who killed her brother and 3 of her friends, Sally gears up to get revenge on Leatherface. After finally arriving back in town, Leatherface enters the home and attacks Dante with a meat cleaver, just as Melanie discovers Jenny actually still had the deed to the home, and they had the right to evict her. It began to rain over the town, Harlow. Almost forced. How much do I got left? The bus of the Richters, they discovered a wounded Dante stumbling down the sidewalk and then bleeds to death. Richter goes into Leatherface's home and investigates where he finds Melanie hiding underneath the bed, who warns Richter that Leatherface is hiding behind the door. Richter manages to put up a decent fight for a while, but Leatherface still manages to kill him. After he leaves, Melanie takes the key for Richter's body and escapes outside, where she reunites with Lilia in the bus and tries to warn her about what's going on. They're too late, however, since Leatherface walks into the bus, massacres everyone inside with his chainsaw. Melanie and Lee escape out of the bathroom window where they met Sally, who locks them both inside of her car before confronting. Oddly, Leatherface doesn't initially remember Sally and completely ignores her, even though she had invaded on her own. She has invaded his own with a shotgun, pointing in his face, and goes back outside, kills Melanie and Leah, but then shot by Sally, who laughs manically. The way during her escape 50 years ago, reminding Leatherface that she said Sally gave Melanie and Leah the key to the car so that they can drive away, but ambushed by Leatherface, who impales her with his chainsaw. Before she dies, she tells Lila that if she doesn't kill him, he'll haunt her and her sister the rest of their days. Lila rejoins in Sally's car and attempts to run over Leatherface, but accidentally crashes it. Melanie is impaled by a piece of the metal. Lila takes Sally's shotgun and follows Leatherface in the abandoned movie theater, where who ambushes her as well and nearly kills her until she gets saved by Melanie and shoots Leatherface several times with the shotgun before slicing the chainsaw to his chin and uppercutting him with it, and Leatherface falls back an outdoor body of water and presumed drowns. A few hours later, Melanie and Leila are finally about to leave Harlow when Leatherface suddenly reveals himself once again to be alive. Melanie, Leah scream in anguish as herself driving the car takes away, while Leatherface dances on the road with the chainsaw. Melanie severed head. Sometime later, Leatherface returns in the original home. See, you guys, this is the Netflix one. I haven't got to the other one, but so his victims. I'll go over his victims real quick. So Kurt, he smashed his head with a sledgehammer. Pam, impaled with a meat hook, and then frozen off screen and being looked inside the freezer. Jerry smashed over the head with a sledgehammer. Franklin Hardesty incinerated with a chainsaw. I think it says That's in 1973, 2023. Unnamed deputy stabbed in the neck with a broken bone of his forearm. Sheriff Hathaway head was crushed with a wooden block and being accidentally shot. The deputy, Ruth, disemboweled with a broken piece of metal. Dante face smashed open with a meat cleaver. Richter beaten to death with a sledgehammer. Unnamed male bus driver decapitated off screen with a chainsaw. Unnamed people massacred with a chainsaw on the bus. Catherine cut in half with a chainsaw on the bus. Sally Hardesty impaled with a chainsaw. And Melody, I don't know what this word is with the chainsaw. So overall, it's 28 victims, 15 victims of unknown gender, 8 men, 5 women. So I'm going to go ahead and drop the link right now. If somebody wants to come and they want to talk to me, you guys could talk to me. I'll leave the link open for like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and then we could talk like horror movies or whatever. It doesn't matter. We could talk whatever horror movies you guys want to talk. Let's go ahead and copy this. I'll be shutting it down 12:30. I'll be shutting it down. So whoever wants to hit that link and come up, you can. So just so you guys know, I will be reviewing my book, Power Ranger Elements. That's probably going to be the next time I stream, which will be March 31st. I just want to take and keep all that under wraps until it comes time for me to review the book or whatever. So just so everybody knows, my book's done with AI. My whole book's done with AI. It's just my ideas. My art's done with AI. Everything's done with AI. It's too much work to try to write stuff. I'm still going to get the Power Ranger Chronicles stuff done eventually. But I want to take and at least get this one done. And so I'll probably read some stuff. We'll probably do a reading or whatever. That'll be the part 2 to it. The first one will be their backstories and stuff like that. So, so Power Ranger Elements book review, March 31st. I think it's 7:30. It's going to be. So. That's the next time I stream. So it's kind of crazy, you guys. Basically, my 2 times I stream is the 13th and the 31st. It's kind of crazy. So just so you guys know, November 13th will be a Friday the 13th stream too. So basically what's going to happen with Friday the 13th, we will continue we'll continue with more stuff. So I don't know if I want to do another Friday the 13th with multiple killers, or I might for this Friday the 13th just for November Friday the 13th. I'm probably gonna most likely read just the Jason movies. Just do that. But I kind of wanted to give you guys multiple stuff, so that way I can read some stuff, and then it is what it is. So. I need to have my laptop, my Chromebook, so I can read the things. Put a chair right here, and then read the chat or whatever. But If we're having anybody by 12:10, I'm gonna shut the stream down, you guys. I'm giving a 5 or 10 minute for people to hit that link. We're finally going back to having fun, you know, so next week I'll be next Saturday I'll be going to JCW house show, and so I don't know if I want to take and stream some of that, or I don't know what I want to do, but I probably won't do any of that. Don't forget, I also taken I do like the Twitch, and I do that too. So basically, if don't forget, you guys, to go watch my Twitch too. I haven't done game in a long time on there. I'm probably gonna do another Twitch episode, another game. I don't know what I'm doing though. It depends on what I want to play. And then I have my other channel, which I need to load up to my other channel for gameplay wise. So a little bit of coffee still. And just so you guys know, the Power Ranger Elements book that I'm having made by AI, I'm not making any money. Just so you guys know, that Power Ranger book, if you guys couldn't hear me because my mic was up, my Power Ranger book, Power Ranger Elements or whatever, I'm not making any money off of it or anything. It's just a fan project. It's something I can print out for myself, put in my library. If people want it to read, I'll send it to whoever. I'll copy and paste and send it to whoever. I'm not going to be making anything off of it. So it's a fan project. It's something to do. In the future, I make my morphers. I do this and that. All right, looks like we have to shut it down. Don't forget to tune into the Power Ranger Elements book review. Go like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and set that shit to all, so you know when I go live, you don't miss any content. And we're out of here.
The crown lies broken on the ground tonight. A ghostly whisper fills the cold moonlight. Once proud halls now echo with despair. The throne sits empty, no king sits there. Mountains crumble where heroes once stood. The rivers run with tears, not with blood. Shattered dreams in the ruins we should play. The loyal scattered, they've lost their way. Legends fade.